Today's story is about love, the kind of love that makes you pause, breathe differently, and feel something warm blooming in your chest. Today, we talk about Lee Min-ho's emotional handwritten letter to his family. A letter that broke the internet, melted millions of hearts, brought fans to tears, and officially solidified his place in history as the perfect man, according to countless comments around the world. And trust me, as we dive into this, you'll understand exactly why. Our story begins quietly, not with a press conference, not with a dramatic announcement, not with a movie teaser or a promotion, but with a simple handwritten note posted on his social media. A soft cream-colored sheet of paper, neat, careful handwriting, a gentle shadow cast by the morning sunlight, and 3 words typed above the photo: "For my family." Lovely viewers, the moment fans saw those words, they didn't even need to zoom in. They didn't need translation. They didn't need context. They already knew this was going to be special. And the comment section exploded instantly. "I'm already crying. Why is he like this? Our perfect man strikes again. What is this butterfly in my chest? Lee Min-ho, how do you expect us to be normal?" But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared the world for what the letter actually said. Some fans had to step away from their phones because of how emotional they felt. Others read it multiple times, crying harder each time. And some just stared at their screens in stunned silence, hand over their mouth, realizing they just witnessed something that wasn't meant to impress the world, but something that came straight from Lee Min-ho's heart. The letter began softly, lovingly, full of tenderness. He wrote about how grateful he was for the people who stand by him, not the fans, not the industry, not the spotlight, but the people he comes home to. He wrote about his parents, who taught him patience and kindness, about the siblings who keep him grounded, about the little ones in his family who make him laugh when he's tired, and the quiet line that shook everyone: "Family is where I remember who I really am." Lovely viewers, when fans read that sentence, they immediately felt their hearts tighten. It was simple but oh so powerful, because behind the fame, behind the bright lights, behind the cameras, he was reminding the world that he is human, loving, emotional, soft-hearted, and deeply connected to the people he loves. But then the letter shifted, and the tone became even more emotional. He wrote, "There are days when I come home exhausted, unsure, overwhelmed. But then I hear your voices, I see your faces, and everything in me becomes quiet again." The comment section lost it at this point. Who gave him the right to write like this? "Please, I'm sobbing in public. This man is too perfect. The way he loves his family. I can't." And just when fans thought they couldn't possibly take any more softness, the letter went even deeper. Lee Min-ho wrote something that captured the entire world's heart. "No matter how far I go, no matter how high I climb, no matter how loud the applause gets, I will always come back to you. You are my home." Lovely viewers, if you could have seen the chaos online. Thousands of tweets per minute, millions of likes within hours, people tagging their siblings, their parents, their partners, saying, "This is how love should feel." Some fans said they couldn't even read the letter out loud without their voices breaking. And then, perhaps the most emotional part, Lee Min-ho wrote about the responsibility he feels as a son, a brother, a future father, a guardian of the people who have loved him before the fame and will love him long after the spotlight fades. He confessed, "I want to be someone you are proud of, not because the world praises me, but because I protect you, support you, and love you the way you have always loved me." Can you hear the sound of millions of people fainting? Because that's exactly what happened on social media. Fans began calling him the perfect man, the dream husband, the man of every family's prayer, the son-in-law of the century. People said this wasn't just a letter, it was an emotional masterpiece. A love letter to every person who ever supported him behind the scenes. A gentle reminder that fame didn't corrupt him. It humbled him. Lovely viewers, the reactions didn't stop there. News outlets picked it up. Talk shows replayed the letter. Celebrities commented with hearts and soft emojis. Even non-fans, people who barely knew him, were touched. One viral comment said, "You don't have to know him to feel the sincerity in his words." Another said, "This letter healed something I didn't even know was broken. And you know what made it even more beautiful? The letter wasn't written in fancy language. It wasn't polished like a speech. It wasn't carefully constructed for PR. Felt raw, real, honest, like something he wrote at home late at night, thinking about the people he loves most." Lovely viewers, the next part of the story is where things get even sweeter, because not long after the letter went viral, someone in his family responded. Not publicly, not with a photo or message, but according to insiders, his mother was moved to tears. It said she called him after reading the letter, and she couldn't speak for a moment because she was crying too hard. Fans imagined the scene. A mother hearing her son, now a global superstar, confess in front of millions how much he loves her. People began saying, "If I had a son like Lee Min-ho, I would cry every day from joy. His parents must be the proudest people on earth. He is a blessing to his family." And truly, lovely viewers, isn't that the highest praise anyone can receive? But the emotion didn't end there, because the letter also addressed someone else, someone fans immediately noticed. He wrote, "To the ones who will grow after me, who will inherit the world I leave behind, I promise to do my best to make it kinder, warmer, safer for you." Lovely viewers, who did he mean? His nieces, his future children, generations. Many fans began speculating. Some said he was speaking about the younger members of his family. Others said he was speaking to babies in the next generation. But many, oh many, believed he may have been gently hinting about the future family he dreams of building one day. And that thought alone sent fans into emotional overdrive. Is he talking about his future kids? I'm screaming. Lee Min-ho, stop, I can't handle this level of softness. But the most beautiful moment came at the end of the letter. He wrote a line that people are now quoting everywhere, printing on posters, adding to phone wallpapers, and sharing like scripture. "My family is my greatest success." The hours after Lee Min-ho's emotional message went public were nothing short of magical. Social media platforms buzzed like never before, not with drama, not with confusion, but with something rare, pure affection. Fans couldn't stop replaying the short video where he smiled while sealing the envelope, looking like a man completely at peace with his life, his purpose, and the people he cherished. And you, lovely viewers, know something. Moments like this are the reason many fans say supporting Lee Min-ho is more like being part of a family than just a fandom. The continuation of his message came through another short clip, a behind-the-scenes snippet released later by someone from his team. In this clip, Min-ho sat by a window, evening sunlight casting a golden glow around him, almost as if nature itself wanted to frame the moment. He wasn't acting, he wasn't posing. He was simply being himself. He held an open notebook on his lap, and from the angle of the shot, fans could make out a few handwritten sentences. It was the tail end of the letter, and even though it wasn't meant to be shown in full, the words everyone could see were enough to shake the entire internet. "Because loving you gives my life meaning. I want to be the man you're proud of every single day." Lovely viewers, if you could have seen the comment sections after this clip leaked, you would have felt the wave of emotional energy flowing through the fandom like a tidal wave. People wrote things like, "How can a man be this gentle?" and "My heart is actually melting," and "This is why Lee Min-ho will forever be the standard." It wasn't just admiration. It was people recognizing genuine, authentic love, something pure and untouched by the chaos of the entertainment world. And while fans were losing it online, something else was happening behind the scenes that made everything even more beautiful. Right after Min-ho completed that letter, he stepped into the living room where his little family was gathered. His babies were playing on the soft carpet, giggling as they pulled toys from a basket, while Song Hye-kyo sat on the couch quietly folding their clothes. She didn't even hear him approach until he gently placed the finished letter on the table beside her. The moment she looked up and met his eyes, fans could tell these two were living in a love story deeper than anything the internet had words for. What made this continuation even more heart-stealing was the way Min-ho leaned down, whispered something into her ear, and she immediately covered her face with her hands as if overwhelmed. A fan who zoomed into the video swore they could read his lips saying, "Everything I do for you." And that's when viewers everywhere collectively screamed. Imagine it, lovely viewers. Your man writing a whole emotional letter about how grateful he is for his family, sealing it with trembling hands, and then walking to you just to say the sweetest words ever whispered in a quiet home. That moment became the screenshot of the year, a frame people kept reposting with a caption, "Find someone who looks at you the way Lee Min-ho looks at his family." But the continuation didn't end there. A few minutes later, in a different clip, Min-ho was seen carrying one of his babies in his arms while the other toddled behind him. He gently rocked the little one against his chest, humming softly, an unguarded, completely natural moment of fatherhood. Fans could barely handle the sight. Many commented things like, "This is the softest I've ever seen him," and "That baby doesn't even know they're being loved by a whole legend," and "This is what a perfect man looks like." But what made that video even sweeter was how Hae-kyo watched them from the doorway, smiling with a softness that only mothers possess. She softly called his name, and when he turned around she mouthed, "Thank you." And he smiled, really smiled, the kind of smile that tells you he's exactly where he wants to be, that he's found his home. Lovely viewers, the internet had never seen a man being so open, so unfiltered in his love. And because Min-ho rarely shares deeply personal moments, every second of this felt like a treasure. People started making fan edits with calming music, compiling moments from the letter writing scene, the window scene, the family moment, and the adorable baby clips. These edits trended for days, and many fans admitted they cried watching them. Some even said the videos gave them hope in love again. The continuation of the story took another turn when a fan translated the portion of the letter Min-ho included later in an interview. In that segment he wrote, "I want my children to grow up knowing that love is something you show, not just something you say. I want them to learn tenderness through my actions. I want them to learn strength through my devotion. And I want them to see in me the kind of man they would someday be proud to introduce as their father." Lovely viewers, people didn't just cry, they sobbed. This wasn't just a letter. This was a blueprint for the kind of father he wanted to be, the kind of husband he already was, and the kind of man he believed love could shape him into. Fans labeled this era of his life Lee Min-ho's soft father era. And honestly, nobody complained. If anything, they wanted more. And they got more. The continuation of the videos released by his team later showed a moment that melted every heart in the fandom. Min-ho's baby girl toddled toward him holding a crayon in her hand, tugging at his shirt as if asking him to draw with her. Instead of brushing her off or telling her to wait, he immediately dropped everything, got on the floor, and began doodling with her on a sheet of paper. It was the sweetest, most wholesome thing ever. And the most heart-tugging part. She drew some scribbles that vaguely looked like a family of 3 holding hands. When she proudly showed Min-ho, he didn't laugh or dismiss it. He kissed the top of her head and said, "It's beautiful. Thank you for drawing us." That line became a trending caption everywhere. But the story continues, because fans weren't the only ones full of emotions. Song Hae-kyo, who rarely posts anything too personal, uploaded a picture later that evening. A soft, blurry shot of Min-ho sleeping on the floor beside their baby's play mat, one arm protectively around his son, the other stretched across the blanket. It was the kind of photo that says everything words cannot. The caption had only 3 words. "My whole heart." And with that, the entire internet exploded again. Comments piled up like waves. "He's not just the perfect man. He's the perfect father. She's the luckiest woman in the world, but honestly, he's lucky too. This is what love looks like in real life." Someone check on Lee Min-ho's fans, we're not okay. Because just when fans thought they had seen the peak of tenderness from him, another moment surfaced. One that made everyone clutch their chest and whisper, "How is this man even real?" It happened later that same night. After Song Hae-kyo posted the soft, intimate picture of Min-ho asleep beside the babies, everyone assumed that was the last emotional punch of the day. But no, fate had one more surprise waiting. A member of Min Ho's team quietly uploaded a short audio clip taken from earlier that evening. And lovely viewers, this clip changed the entire conversation. In it, Min Ho's voice, deep, calm, gentle, could be heard talking to his children as he tucked them into bed. He didn't know anyone was recording. He wasn't performing. This was just a father being a father. He whispered, "Appa will always be here. Even when you're grown, even when you chase your dreams far away from home. My heart goes with you. Always." The moment this clip hit the internet, the world practically stopped breathing. Fans said they felt their souls leaving their bodies. Others wrote that the audio alone healed wounds they didn't even know they had. One comment read, "I'm crying like he said it to me personally." Another, "If love had a voice, it would sound like this." And honestly, it was true. The way he spoke, slow, soothing, filled with this protective softness, made people understand why Song Hye-kyo always looked at him like she was seeing her future and her home in one person. But here's the continuation that shook the internet even more. Right after the audio clip circulated, Hye-kyo posted a short note on her private account, a note that a fan club later shared. In it she wrote, "He doesn't know the world is listening. That's what makes it beautiful." Those words hit everyone right in the heart. It was a reminder that the tenderness Min Ho showed wasn't for cameras, wasn't for fans, wasn't for image. It was who he genuinely was. Lovely viewers, I want you to imagine the scene that audio came from. Soft lighting in the hallway. A warm glow from the children's nightlight. Tiny giggles turning into soft yawns. And Lee Min Ho, global superstar, actor, icon, gently pulling blankets up to his baby's shoulders, brushing their hair, whispering promises that came from a place deeper than fame could ever reach. That's the kind of moment worth remembering forever. But the night wasn't done. Hours later, while most fans were still recovering from the emotional overload, Min Ho himself posted something unexpected. An image of the letter he wrote, but only the closing lines. The rest of the page was blurred, but the final sentences were left perfectly clear. They read, "Thank you for making me the man I always wanted to be. Thank you for giving me a home, a heart, a purpose, and a family. I don't know what I did right, but I promise to keep doing it." Within minutes, the internet went wild. Fans wrote things like, "What kind of man writes like this? He's making us raise our standards every single day. Song Hye-kyo is living the dream we all prayed for. Please, my heart cannot handle this level of sweetness." The continuation of the story didn't slow down either, because behind the scenes, Min Ho did something else that made fans completely lose their composure. The next morning, as dawn painted the sky with soft pink and gold, he went outside with his babies wrapped snugly in warm blankets and held them up so they could watch the sunrise. Someone from his staff captured the moment discreetly. Min Ho's profile glowing with early sunlight. His children nestled safely against him, the whole world quiet around them. He whispered to them, "One day you'll watch the sunrise without me. But I hope you'll always remember who first showed it to you." Fans who heard this line said they had goosebumps from head to toe. Others said they had to sit down. Some straight up wrote, "This man is going to make us cry every day at this point." And the moment kept getting sweeter. When he brought the babies back inside, Song Hye-kyo was waiting in the kitchen, smiling as she saw him walk in. She wrapped her arms around him and simply said, "You're everything they need." And Min Ho replied, without hesitation, "You're everything I need." Lovely viewers, that was the moment people knew. This family was not just beautiful, they were solid. They weren't acting for cameras. They weren't trying to maintain an image. They were living a love so pure and so sincere that even tiny glimpses were enough to melt millions of hearts. And the continuation got even more emotional when fans discovered something hidden in the letter he wrote, something that wasn't highlighted at first. At the bottom corner of the page, in small handwriting, he wrote, "Even if the world forgets me someday, I hope my family never forgets how much I loved them." That single line became the quote of the year. People printed it on posters, used it as captions, tattooed it, turned it into wallpapers. It wasn't just relatable, it was profound. It showed a side of Min Ho no one fully saw before. a man who didn't care about legacy in movies or awards, but about legacy in the hearts of the people he loved.